G'day guys, Wayne here from Wild Spirit Adventures, and how exciting is this? Not long before we go and do the Everest Base Camp trek, one of the greatest treks in the world. To stand there and see Everest in its panorama and all its glory is just one of the most mystical and magical moments in your life. We're going to talk you through what's going to happen on our journey to base camp and how you're going to be feeling on this incredible journey. Yeah, one of the big things people start to worry about is altitude and what happens to your body when you start to get up inside this mountain here. Yeah, altitude is something that we really need to be aware of as we climb this mountain, and your body will start to feel a little bit tired. You'll start to feel a little bit exhausted, and you'll probably not be eating as much as you normally do. So it's really important that we walk slowly. And as I say over there in Nepal and in Kilimanjaro and in all the big mountains of the world, poly. So one of the great things we have to do, guys, we have to slow ourselves down. And for some of us that are pretty fit and want to have a crack at this, that's going to be the greatest challenge, is actually slowing yourself down and taking in the vistas and walking slow. That is the number one thing you can do to prevent altitude sickness. But guys, there is a plus to walking in high altitudes, and it's one of some of the great sporting teams of the world train at altitude. It's because within an hour of you guys being up around about 2,500 to 3,000 meters of altitude, your red blood cells start to multiply, and they're just drawing in as much oxygen into the bloodstream as it possibly can. So there's a plus to this. But you need to be aware of what's going on. Headaches, dehydration, it can be early signs of altitude sickness. So we're going to be talking to each other as we go along this journey, seeing how we feel, making sure that we're having plenty of fluids, making sure we're walking slowly, and making sure we're looking after ourselves. We'll be doing regular checks-up as we go across this trek. But let me tell you, this is one of the most incredible journeys you're ever going to go on. The vistas of Everest are sensational. So to see the mountain ranges around us, to walk across the bridges and see the yaks coming across suspension bridges and around tight, narrow pathways, and edges dropping away down into the great, incredible valleys of Everest, is one of the most magical and mystical moments you're going to have in your life. To walking up to places like Nancy Bazaar, which is the home of the Kumbi Sherpas that live in this area here, and seeing how the Sherpas live their day-to-day lives, seeing the ladies in the streets, cooking and washing their clothes and going about their daily journey is something to behold. And you know what? We are walking in the footsteps of Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, the guys who went up there in the early 1950s and conquered the greatest mountain in the world. Guys, we're in for a hell of an adventure. And let me tell you, when we get to base camp and we climb to Kalapatar at 5,555 meters, and we're looking at the vista, and we jump on that helicopter and we fly back around the bases of Everest and down past Nutsi and then down for the Kumba Valley back down towards Lukla, it is just going to be one of the most exhilarating and incredible feelings of your life. And let me tell you, when we get back down to Lukla and we have that first beer, it's going to be like that first beer you had when you won the grand final in 1997. How good's that going to feel, guys? Very excited. Let's get amongst it. Everest Base Camp. Here we go! Okay, guys, here we are. We're going to go for a bit of gear that we're going to use on our Everest Base Camp trek. And just as a starting point, right, I've just got my walking shorts and a nice cool dry shirt, because it's going to be at the start around about 25 degrees, and I've just got a pair of my runners that I'll use for getting around Kathmandu and maybe the first day of our journey across the track. So guys, what I'll have a spare cool dry shirt to change into, and probably around camp, and also a spare pair of shorts there as well. Okay, one of the main things that we're going to be carrying, this is going to be your day pack. And everything you're going to carry in this is going to be your water, so your water bottle, your small medical kit, and your snacks on a day-to-day basis. Our main pack is this beauty. Everything that we're taking up to base camp with us has got to fit into this pack, and be carried by our Sherpas as we go up the track there. So these two items are what's supplied by NIB and Hughes Foundation for us to take, so you'll be picking them up very, very shortly as we go along there. I personally use water bottles wherever I go, so I'll have two of these, which slip into my day pack, and it allows me to know how much water I'm drinking on a day-to-day basis there. One of the great things that's important about what gear to take there as well is I use this what's called Trek Fuel, which is a fantastic electrolyte that we put together. We actually use this on Kokoda, and all our advantages. You know, it's a high performance, you know, power and energy drink, but it's going to put all the electrolytes back into your system that you need. So if you're needing something, I know we've got the beautiful Man Shake and that going, but if you need another electrolyte, check out Trek Fuel that we use it here at Kokoda Spirit and Wild Spirit Adventures there. Guys, I've got these towels. You need 2 of these towels, right? Once again, available from Anaconda. They're about $10, but they're really good for when we get into camp, and also for sort of wiping yourself down if it starts to rain as we're trekking along. So there they are, about $10 each from Anaconda. 2 of them is the way to go there as well. Sleeping bag, really important for up there in the mountains. Even though we're going to be sleeping in tea houses, that this sleeping bag, once again supplied by NIB and the Hughes Foundation, is an essential part of keeping us warm each night in our accommodation there. Something you might want to think about as we're walking along. I take a little portable umbrella because it can rain a lot up there on the mountains, and certainly when we're having our rest days in the villages and things like that, it's a great thing just to be able to pull that out and walk around, a little bit like Mary Poppins. So like, you don't need to get a black one, you can get a red one, a blue one, whatever colour you like, as we walk around the streets of some of the villages up there on the mountains there. But certainly an accessory that can make the difference for staying dry out there in the mountains. A couple of things to consider as well is these little beauties. They're power packs. Because one of the things that happens on the mountain is the cold weather can drain the power. So you know, your batteries, your camera, your phones can drain very, very quickly there up there in the mountains. So always carry a couple of these power packs, which are fantastic for charging your phones as well other appliances as you go along. And not that expensive, but certainly a great thing to be carrying with you. And it's certainly able to be charged in some of the tea houses. A small fee, they charge a small fee to charge, but certainly able to keep all your power going. But keep that in mind. Up in the mountains, in the cold weather, all your power drains very, very quickly. Much different to what happens at sea level and in the coastal places that we live. Torches up there. You know, I carry a small pen torch like this as well, and as long as my headlight torches as well, which is going to be imperative for when we leave base camp and climb up to Kalapatara at 5,555 metres. And we'll be going up pre-dawn up there. So really imperative that you have some light for those journeys up there. But carry spare batteries for these beauties. So, you know, these are AAA, but carry a few spare AAA batteries just to make sure that you've got plenty of power and light for that part of our journey as we go up there. Guys, absolutely essential is your sunglasses. You can look as cool as me, or you can go and get yourself a different brand of sunglasses, but certainly you need sunglasses that are polarized and are going to keep the glare from getting in the side of your head here, because you know it's so bright up there. It's going to possibly give you massive headaches if you haven't got the proper sunglasses. Bring a second pair as well, just in case you lose these or they get broken. Absolutely an essential piece of requirement on the track there. Guys, a medical kit. A lot of you guys are going to share, but this medical kit here is, you know, carries everything for stomach upsets, for diarrhea, and headaches. Because one of the things that's going to happen is you're more likely to get some headaches up on the mountain due to altitude and upset stomachs and things like that. So think about headaches, think about pain relief for sore and tired muscles, think about stomach upsets, think about diarrhea, and think about cleanliness, hygiene. So you need a lot of the hand sanitizers as we go along there as well. We'll be drinking bottled water, so that's critical to our health as well, to make sure we think hygiene and we think safety of the water and the things that we're putting into our mouth as we go along on this amazing journey. Okay, guys, one of the other things that we actually need as well is these dry bags. Okay, so one of these comes as part of the NIB Mark Hughes Foundation pack, but it's certainly imperative that you put your clothes and all your bits and pieces in these dry sacks. Because it is going to rain at some stage on our journey, and you want to make sure that your clothes are kept dry for this journey, because there's nothing worse than having wet clothes in a really, really cold environment. Okay, guys, some of the gear. This is some of the critical stuff. I've got these Flash Merrill Moab boots that I use on Kokoda and most of the mountains that we climb. Really, really comfortable, and that's probably the key thing for footwear. It's making sure it fits well and comfortable. These little beauties are a little bit bigger than what I would normally have, simply because sometimes when you're up in the really cold climate, so I need to wear 2 pairs of socks to keep my feet dry. So boots and 2 pairs of socks for walking, and a third pair of socks to keep for campsites and things like that, to keep your feet warm and dry as we go along. Some of the other clothes that were really important that we used is the inner cores. So on the mountains themselves, I will use a beautiful pair of these walking pants, mainly for when the weather is kind to us and it's not so cold. If I'm not in my shorts, this is my first layer of clothes that will go on. So they're a lightweight, long pair of pants, which are just great for the cooler weather. And if things start to get really cold on top of the mountain there, underneath that, I could wear a pair of my 2XU or skins, just to keep things nice and tight on my body there as well. So that could be my second layer underneath those pair of pants there. If it gets really cold on the mountain there, we will certainly be going for tracksuit pants, right, which would be another layer of clothing. Mainly probably going to be used on summit night if it does get down to into the -10s, the -15s and things like that on there. And finally, I will have my outer core pants, which are great for repelling rain and for keeping the wind out. So absolutely essential. You couldn't, if you don't want to invest in these Gore-Tex style pants, certainly a really good pair of rain pants are absolutely essential. It's going to keep the wind and the rain from outside as you're walking. Okay, guys, upper body care, really important there as well. So firstly, once again, I'll be wearing this shirt, and then I should do is layer up. So I've got a couple of fleece line jacket. So that's my first line up after my shirt here is my fleece line jacket. And then I have a second outer core jacket, which is once again beautifully sponsored by 2XU, and thank you to 2XU for being a wonderful supporter of me. But that's my second line there. Once again, everything here is zippable. So when it gets hot, I can zip down, and when it gets cold, I can zip back up there again. And I have this other jacket for campsites as well. All right, so there it is there. But the main thing I have is my outer core jacket as well. Right, once again, it's a Gore-Tex jacket. It's going to keep the wind out, and it's going to keep the rain from penetrating through to my clothes there. So really important there, guys. So, okay, the other part we need to be looking at is our extremities of our body. So I have a pair of certainly a pair of gloves, which are like your snow gloves, which are going to be to keep your fingers dry and warm in those cold moments on the mountain. But what I also have is I have a pair of inners. So when it gets super cold, they'll go on your hands, and then they'll slip inside these. So they're going to keep everything nice and warm in those really cold mornings, or those really cold days that we're walking up the mountain. And then I'll have a nice pair of pretty gloves, mainly to wear around camp if it gets to that stage there. All right. So another thing, absolutely essential, is a beanie. And 2 beanies is not a bad idea. And I just happen to have one of the best beanies that's ever been created, an MHF beanie. The Mark Hughes Foundation, the mighty Mark Hughes Foundation beanie is going to go on this journey with me up to Everest Base Camp. So that'll go on my little head like that, and I'll have the cover from this to go over the top there as well. So guys, there we are. There we have it in a nutshell. A bit of the gear that we're going to take on the track. If you want any more information, give us a call at Wild Spirit Adventures, and we can talk you through a bit of the gear. Guys, very excited, and look forward to seeing you out there on the mountain.